On Kid Zone leaders, this weekend when we get together in our huddles before the Kid Zone service begins, I'd like us to spend just 30 seconds praying, and praying specifically for the kids that are coming to Kid Zone, that are going to be there, that we're going to get to interact with, that have some sort of rough family situation, or strange dynamics with their family situation. We have kids that are coming from split families, kids that are in the middle of a divorce right now, kids that have parents that are on drugs, or kids whose parents are not even in the picture and they're being raised by their grandparents. I want to pray for them, especially around this time of year during the holiday season, because it's a very, very tough time for them. I want to pray that during this time of year, they would truly sense God's love, that God would use us to just be the hands and feet of Jesus throughout this holiday time, where they may be lacking some of their parent figures, that God would use us to be able to just show them the love that they deserve to be shown. So let's just spend a few minutes praying before each service, and if our service coordinators can kind of take the lead on that, and spend just, like I said, 30 seconds praying. And I want to just also give a couple of practical tips before we go into this weekend that we all can apply, specifically if you are on stage presenting. So I made a list of 3 things that I want us to do, 3 things that I want us to not do. It's very important with anybody that's presenting on a microphone up in front of everybody that we have some level of standards or expectations so we all know what to do. So 3 things that I want everyone to do. If you're on stage and presenting, the first thing is, number 1, to smile and relax. Number 1 thing you need to do is smile and relax. When you smile, you put people at ease. If you look like you're having a good time, people are going to engage with what you're saying. And if you're relaxed, you're going to be more comfortable. Things are going to flow from you. It's not going to feel forced. If you're not relaxed, it makes everybody in the room feel a little bit tense. So number 1, smile and relax. Number 2, very simple. I don't have a microphone with me right now, but you should hold the microphone right up against your chin. It should rest right there. Your microphone should not be way off to the side. Why is that important? Because it actually helps you project and helps you keep control of the room. So when you're presenting, if it's touching your chin, you're doing a pretty good job. If it's kind of floating around here somewhere, you're probably not projecting. We end up having to crank your microphone really loud and we get some feedback. So just make sure that happens. And then the last thing is, I'd like for everybody, when you know that you're going to be on stage, do some preparation. Don't just go up there and kind of wing it the entire time. This is especially important when you're in those serious moments of the service. So worship leaders specifically, when you're introducing a slow song or you're closing in prayer, give some thought to what you're about to say. I think we've gotten into a habit of saying the exact same thing over and over again, almost like it's a script and a pattern, and it loses the freshness. We want all of the kids to understand that living for God and spending time with Him can be fresh and exciting, and there should be a fresh word that you bring every time that you have one of those moments before or after the slow song, or you're bringing kids into the presence of God. So keep things fresh. One of the phrases that we say over and over again, and I'm ready to just kind of end it and not use it anymore, is prayer is another form of worship. We've said that so many times, and it just feels very stale. So I'd like to just kind of move away from that. And all those, we probably pick up a lot of things that we just keep saying over and over again, and they feel stale. Let's keep things fresh. A couple people have just been very passionately praying and giving some thought to what they're praying about, and it really feels good. If we can do that and bring some preparation to the times we're presenting, it's very, very good. So number 1, smile and relax. Number 2, hold your microphone up to your chin. And number 3, prepare and keep it fresh. Now, things that I want you to avoid doing, the don'ts of presenting. The first thing is shouting. So when you're holding the microphone and you are shouting into it, we want you to be loud, but don't shout. So sometimes we get into that chanting at the end of the service and we're doing the boys, boys, boys. That gets very piercing to the ears, and it's kind of painful to listen to. So you should never have to shout into the microphone. You can talk loud, but we never want to be shouting, and avoid that chanting. That's very hard to listen to. So avoid that. The second thing is avoid using negative words. We don't want to say things like crap. We don't want to say sucks. All those things, anything that we don't want kids to go home and say, hey, Mom, guess what I learned at church? and they repeat what they heard you say. So avoid any of those negative words. We want to keep it very positive. Even simple things that you may say to your friends all the time, like "Hey, you're a jerk," or "What, you're stupid." Things like that are the words that the kids are going to remember and repeat when they get home. So avoid any of those negative words. And then the last thing that you want to avoid is rambling. If you're not sure what to say and you just keep going and going and going and you're talking about all kinds of other stuff, or I've seen us sometimes just try to fill the dead air because you're not sure who's coming up next, so you just start talking about, I don't know where the next person is, so we're just going to talk and then fill time. That feels very, very awkward. So if you're stalling and nobody's coming up and you're not sure what to do, ask for them once. Say, all right, do we have the person's coming up next? And if they're not there, just wing it. So a good example of this is when we did Kids Kaboom this past year, and we played the wrong track for the musical. And Sage and everybody else, they came out and they did something that seemed like it was supposed to fit, even though it was the wrong cue. They didn't act confused. They didn't just ramble to kill time. They actually presented something that was pretty quality. So it requires a little bit of ad-libbing and being flexible, but don't just kind of say, oh, I don't know where this person is, so I'm just going to come up here. Before we used to get into this habit of telling weird jokes or whatever just to kill time. Don't do that. That's just not a good experience for anybody. So just a reminder, the 3 things that you want to avoid doing: shouting or chanting in the microphone, using negative words, or rambling just to fill time. So those are some great things to remember as you're presenting. Looking forward to seeing you guys all this weekend. I missed you all last weekend. I was on vacation and also at the Ambridge campus. So excited to be back at Hampton and seeing all of you. All right, see you guys all soon.